Hello, my name is Daniel and welcome to TechTekk. This video is taken from another podcast that I do called the UX Chaps. If you do want to watch the full thing, then I'll leave all the links down in the description. Hope you enjoy it. So, Google is one of the biggest things in the news this week, but also in the news is Tesla. Again, they've always in the news quite recently. They've just released their full self-driving beta, which is only available in America, and I think it's coming out to Canada very soon. Tesla are claiming that it's going to reduce driver intervention by as much as 33%. Now, I think that's a massive achievement if they can actually hit those targets. But as a Tesla driver myself, I don't know where these figures are coming from, because in the UK, autonomous cars or Tesla's autonomous driving is nowhere near without anything of any human interaction, because it's all over the place. Great on the motorway, absolutely sucks everywhere else.
I'm guessing it's like legislation, different rules for different parts of the world. So, I don't have a Tesla. I would love to drive a Tesla. I did think about, putting an order in for one. And you've got a Tesla 3, Model 3. I just compare it with the cars that, I'm into cars. I'm one of those, when I was a kid, I used to draw cars. I wanted to become a car designer. And I've always been into cars, looking at Lamborghinis, Ferraris, and so on and so forth. But it'd be interesting to feel the experience of, I think, I like what Tesla's doing. I think the way I see it, and I've mentioned this, Dan and I have had a conversation before, and I posted something up on LinkedIn. I see what Tesla's doing is kind of like reinventing cars. And there'll always be car fanatics, so there'll always be things like Ferrari, or needs for Ferraris, Lamborghinis, and Aston Martins, or whatever. But I think majority of people will also need a workhorse. And a workhorse car is, you've got something which is like the family hatchback or an SUV or whatever, and you want something that can support people's lives and not intrude, but it's effortless. And if you have to commute to work, wouldn't it be great if, like, okay, I've got to get up at 6 a.m, but if I just get up and get in the car and then go sleep for an hour while the car drives me to work, an hour's drive or something, a bit like in a train, you can work or you can sit there, read a book, relax. If you can do that, then it becomes like a lounge. It becomes like, well, it's an extension of my house. It's a mobile part of my house. And so it's no longer like I need to drive it. I don't want to drive, something like it's just a family car. It's a tool. A fun car like a Ferrari or Lamborghini or McLaren or whatever. Those are for, like, yes, I want to experience pleasure and the sound and things like that. So those are the things that people, that's the pleasure side of things. And I think automation, once we get past all the legislation, which I think they will, I think it will take longer, certainly in the UK. And obviously it's coming out quicker in America. But I think, in 20 years' time or so, most new cars will be autonomous.
Yeah, and do you think we'll be buying cars at that point, or will it be a bit of like a modern day Uber where we will just rent or have £100 a month subscription to whatever service it may be, and when you need the car, you call it up on your phone, it parks up outside your house, and that's yours for the day, or that's yours for a journey, or whatever it may be.
Yeah, I do. I think, if it's a workhorse, there becomes a point where, like, do I really need to own one? If I can, like, pick up the kids, or, a car goes and picks them up, people from school, work, or, I've been out, it's a party, my friend's birthday party, I've had a few drinks and stuff, well, can't drive. Well, if I can get a car, it can drop me off. I'll just say, right, I want to go, this is my house, just drop me off. And it's things like potentially what if you got things like, right, I want to throw a whole load of rubbish away and take it to the skip. well, sometimes you get stuff and it's junk, and I could damage my own car and stuff. But if you just rent one out, obviously there'll be insurances and things. But I can imagine that you can just say, look, I just need a car for a couple hours. I want to recycle a whole load of garden waste, and I want to take it to the tip. So if I can get a car to come up, I can bung a whole load of stuff into the car, and then the car can take it to the tip, and then somebody can unload it. People working at the tip can unload those cars. So I think it could change. I think a lot of things can change.
I think you're right, and I think that's probably how it's going to go. I think my biggest concern right now, especially with Tesla and any other manufacturer out there that is looking at full self-driving, is that because it's very software driven, it's very different to, say, launching a new software update of your mobile phone. There's very little damage that can cause to someone's life if it goes wrong.
Yeah.
But with Tesla, it seems like they're playing the same game, but at the same time, there's lives at risk because they put it into the consumer's hand and say, this is a beta, be careful, or be more aware. But we know from consumer side of things, consumers are not, they're not aware. They'll go, oh, great, this is a fully self-driving car, or this car can drive and do roundabouts or whatever it may be. I'm going to let it do it. Exactly.
They're going to see, oh, how far can I take it? And people are curious and they want to know, right, you say autonomous, let's see if we can try and trick it. And you did something testing on your YouTube channel, testing can you trick the car into thinking the road's got different speed limits by and this some signs.
And this is the trouble that and this is the reason I have the YouTube channel where I'm testing Tesla's features and I guess trying to feed that back to Tesla. They probably already know about it, but it's always nice to have a community talking about it. But where they've just launched a new one where it picks up the road signs. Google's been doing that for years, and when you get to the countryside, the road signs that Google think the road speed limit is never the same as what the actual road is. Right. But I think when you start having a car that is only taking the speed limit, because at the moment that's all they're doing, taking the speed limit, and then they're either going, it's either automatically going faster or slower. I think it's dangerous, and the fact that there's no sort of check-in that's being done between. And I said it in my most recent video. I actually put one up today answering some of the comments from that video, and one of them was, all you proved within that video is that Tesla can read road signs. And what I actually proved, and I said to him, is that no, I've proved that they can read genuine road signs and also fake road signs. It's the same as like printing money in my eyes.
Yeah.
You can print money if you wanted to, which is illegal. Right, but just because it's illegal doesn't mean people are not going to do it.
It can be. I mean, what's stopping someone printing out a sign and then holding it up as a Tesla comes along and Tesla suddenly brakes?
And this is my problem. If that was to happen on the motorway, if I was to stand on the motorway, and let's roll 10 years into the future now, and this problem hasn't been solved. If I was to stand on the motorway where maybe 60-70% of cars are fully autonomous and stand there with a stop sign, the car will automatically grind to a halt.
Yeah.
And that's, if I was to do the same, but humans were driving, people would look at you and go, hang on, what is that guy doing? They wouldn't just slam on their brakes because there's a stop sign that's being shown in their face. That they may change lanes or they may slightly slow down, but they would do it safely when the autonomous cars is programmed to say, if there's a stop sign, stop.
Yeah.
Unless at this moment in time, a human says no. And that's the issue. And it's the same with the speed limits. If the speed limit changes from a 30 to a 60, the car will go straight from 30 to 60, and the acceleration on a Tesla is like instant. If you're in like a town centre, that is, you could run people over with that.
Yeah, I mean, outside school, and somebody prints out a sign and then puts it up 70 miles an hour outside school, just at the time when kids are coming out and they're running out, and suddenly a Tesla suddenly accelerates.
Yeah.
could be a situation there. But I think in time, it won't read road signs. I think in time, it will probably have some kind of like it need to download information. So like Google Maps, you can download the information, and I suppose like if you've got all the road signs within the maps, then like the sign that's on the side, well, that's kind of like backing it up. And if it's a discrepancy, then it'll go to, right, okay, this is downloaded from Google or downloaded from like a map software. So then that one is the right one. The backup one is the one, say, like if there's maybe there's road works or there's been an accident or something like that. But even then, you'll get traffic updates. And so I think if everything can be integrated in that kind of one seamless universal way of doing things, then that would resolve the issue.
Yeah, and that's what they have they have that already. You know, Google's integrated within the navigation system, and they use that as standard. But what they're doing currently is, if they see a road sign, and say Google says the road is 30 miles an hour, but a road sign is saying 40, it favourites over the road sign, because Tesla's programmed it to say, well, the road sign must be more up to date than Google is. But what it should be doing is sending it back to Google or an API or a database or whatever it is behind the scenes, and saying, well, you're saying it's a 30 mile an hour road. Our recognition system is saying it's 40. Which one is true? Yeah. And there needs to be a conversation in between there to go, okay, has the authorities changed the speed limit? Has something else changed the speed limit? And trying to figure out which one is, and it might even be based on other drivers as well, of having more of a community base, which is, I think, how Waze works, which is another navigation system. So I think we're still in early days with the Tesla stuff, and it's great that they do it. They've got so far with that technology, but I think the issue I always find is that they just pass it over into the hands of the consumer. And I know they've got to do testing, and I know they're going to have to make changes. But the issue is that when you give a consumer something that's not finished, they will try and test it to the full max. Even if it says, warning, this is a beta, it can be dangerous if you take your eye off the road. People don't listen. And we've seen it all over the place. Don't take your hands off the steering wheel. Yeah, in America, we've seen people in the passenger seat eating a burger or falling asleep. Yeah. Because they can do it. So they will do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think over time, actually one thing which would be quite interesting, because other car companies are doing autonomous driving, but I can see there'll probably become a standard to help with legislation. Everyone would need to abide by a standard, and it's so it's almost like Tesla may be producing an automation system. So is Mercedes, so is BMW, etc., and then like whoever comes up with the best, most accurate wins and gets used worldwide and integrated. I think it's a bit like when cars started having screens, and you can have like sat navs and multimedia and all the rest of it. Cars were doing their own systems, but nowadays they're starting to use, just use Google, use Android, or use iOS or something like that. Yeah, we'll concentrate on the cars. Well, it's an interface, a digital interface. So that digital interface, we don't need to worry about that. So then that means whatever car you get into, it's got an interface you're familiar with.
Yeah, and I think that could be another route Tesla take in terms of like selling their software as a service or a SaaS software service. Because at the end of the day, Tesla are good at making software and doing software. They're not so good on the car side. They don't build cars as good as, say, Porsche or Mercedes, because they've been doing it much longer. They're in the car game. Tesla, in my eyes, is more of a software company. Yes, their cars are going to get better. Yes, they're going to improve over time. But I think if they teamed up with someone like Porsche or Mercedes, or even if you went even into the lower cars like Citroen and Volkswagen, they're a lot cheaper, but they provided their software and put them in those cars. Yeah. I think they'd be on to another winner there.
Yeah. And then, like, other manufacturers can concentrate on producing good cars.
Yeah.
I mean, Tesla. I mean, it'd be interesting. I'd like to drive the new Roadster. That's what interests me. But I mean, I actually quite like the look of it. The first one was based on a Lotus, but the new Roadster coming out whenever it comes out, 2021, 2022, 2023. I mean, like, COVID-19 is putting delays on everything. Same with like Ferraris and other makes. I think Ferrari's will be launching the hybrid SF90, which that looks quite interesting. Ferrari is going in, like, so this is the other end of the scale. Ferrari's a supercar manufacturer, and so they're famous for doing like mid-engine V8s such as the 458, and they've launched the F8, which is the latest and probably potentially a final V8 because of emission laws and things like that. Who knows whether they'll be producing another mid-engine V8 car, which would be a shame, but that's a conversation for another time. But the SF90 is kind of like a hybrid hypercar. So you can drive electric for a few miles. I can't remember. I don't think it's that much, but it's also a petrol engine. But there's a lot more technology in there than previous Ferraris, and some Ferrari fans kind of like say, well, it's not a traditional Ferrari, but I think as well, technology has to change and car companies have to evolve. And I actually, I quite like the style of the SF90, and it makes it a hypercar more affordable. Hypercar performance, almost 1,000 brake horsepower, and 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in under 2.5 seconds.
I think that's where the Roadster is then going to cause real big issues for these supercar companies, and you're going to have the fans of Ferrari and the high end brands, but when you get a car that can, I think it can go 0 to 60 in I think under a second or something stupid like that. That's
seconds.
That's when it's going to be will people then go electric, because it's what are they looking for? Are they looking for that speed? Are they looking for the comfort? Are they looking because it's the brand? That will really open up the market then to go, okay, is Tesla got sort of an edge in that supercar like world?
The thing is, and I've seen some what are called races between acceleration of cars and Teslas, and I have seen the F8 Tributo, Ferrari F8 Tributo, beat the ludicrous Tesla S, Model S with the ludicrous mode, the top of the range one. So the Tesla takes off first, but because the Ferrari is lighter and it's got more power, it overtakes and basically just shoots past and leaves it behind. So I think Tesla will need to get lighter, a lot lighter, but they'll need to also, yes, it's quick off the mark, but then by the time it gets to 70, 80, 90, 100 miles an hour, then Ferraris and Lamborghinis will be overtaking them. And then 1 to 200 miles an hour. I mean, Tesla can't even do that at the moment. But I mean, the Roadster is predicted to do 250 miles an hour, which that would be quite amazing if it does do that. And looking forward to seeing one actually, see how fast it can actually go.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be a problem for every manufacturer in the car world is batteries. If you take devices that we have and what we put batteries haven't changed for years, and it's still, they don't have much battery capacity. You end up changing them all the time, and it's how we're still in the early days of battery capacity, and that's the biggest thing.
They're working on it though. They are coming up with ways where the batteries can have more capacity and they're lighter. I suppose it's you want to be able to have them charge. Ideally, you want to be able to charge a car fully within about 3 minutes, 2-3 minutes, and have your 600 miles or whatever it is. I mean, the Roadsters was 600 miles range. And you think, well, if you've got that, then, and if you can charge it overnight on your driveway without having to plug it in, because there's another thing. That's another thing with like electric cars. You've got to plug it in, so you need to have the infrastructure of plugging it in and have all these things, components built and then shipped around the world and stuff like that. And placed in locations where people go, well, okay, I need more power. Is there a place where I can charge my car? And it's like, well, if you can just like drive on a road, or if you drive drive in your park in your driveway, and if you've got like maybe something within the bricks on a driveway, or the material on a driveway, it allows you to, like, if a car is parked on there, it can charge it up.
Yeah, they were talking about that. I can remember years and years ago. It was kind of like speed bumps in the road, where if when you drive over it, it would sort of touch something underneath, like a plate, and it would give you a bit of charge. And that was an idea they had. I don't know.
That's a bit of a bad idea, putting on a speed bump.
Yeah, it wasn't.
I have to slow right down every 25 meters, or whatever it is. And it's like to slow down, charge a car up, go over the speed bump. Oh, my back! Oh, or whatever.
No, it wasn't a speed bump. It was like a speed bump, but it was like basically there was a plate at the bottom of your car that would touch the other plate on the road, and that would give you some sort of charge. I guess since then they've come up with regen braking, which basically does exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's interesting world in the Tesla space, and I think as it stands right now, they are the leaders. Probably not in terms of the car build. I think the Porsche Taycan, I think it's called, that one looks and feels like a Porsche. It probably drives like a Porsche as well.
It feels like a normal car, looks like a normal car, only it's electric. So I suppose electric's not normal yet, but it drives electric. You expect it to make that Porsche sound. You think, oh right, you get into a Porsche 911 turbo. You hear a combustion engine. You get into another Porsche and you don't hear anything. It's like, hang on, it looks like a Porsche. It feels like a Porsche. It's a build quality of the Porsche, or Porsche, depending on how you call it. But
I think the biggest thing for that, for Porsche, and the hurdle they're going to have, one, I would say the price, but I'm not in the market to buy a £100,000 car, so maybe that's not a problem. And the second thing is they don't have the charging infrastructure at all. They're relying on the third parties.
They have the cars, they have the build quality, the German build quality, and they have the Porsche fans, and they do build good cars. So they're kind of a bit opposite to Tesla, but they don't have the electric infrastructure and technology that way, but they have the driver's cars.
Yeah.
Tesla doesn't have a driver's car, but they have the technical... they have the more advanced, newer software and technology.
Yeah, and that's where I think these manufacturers have missed the boat, because Tesla did offer all of this up. Use our standardized charging connector. You can have access to our charging network, and they all turned them down. They just said, no, we don't want it.
That would have made more sense.